In today's episode, we have two very special guests who we call friends, and they're business owners, real estate investors. Our guests are Sophie Coutu and Yan Virasack. So stay tuned for this next episode. Welcome to the next episode of Same Page. My name is Sarah Simajus.
And I'm Léonard Simajus.
Today we have a very, very special episode. I'm super excited about this conversation. We have our guests, Sophie Coutu and Yan Virasack with us. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Again, thank you so much for accepting to be on the show. I know we tried to schedule a couple of times. It didn't work out. And finally, we found a little time that we can dedicate to this. So we really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this with us today. We want to dive into a lot of different things. I'm not sure what we're going to get the time to dive into. But before we even start, I want you guys to just introduce yourselves to our audience and just tell them who you are.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Sophie. So I met Yan, it was about 17 years ago now. And then I'm starting business about like 9 years ago. My husband was working in the oil field. Maybe you can share that a little bit later with everyone. But yeah, so while he was working in the oil field, I was starting the business, so we were able to do that. And then we love real estate, so we knew about real estate that was going to be a good tool for us to actually start some wealth for herself and her family. So that's pretty much what we did.
Awesome.
Great.
And
Yan?
Yeah, my name is Yan, as you can see. And yeah, I'm from Quebec, like Sophie. And like she said, we met 17 years ago, and I was following my firefighting course in Quebec. So we came back at some point in Alberta, because we like the mountains too. Economy is good. And yeah, the economy was very good. It was good.
And we
like
were starting our family as well, so
Yeah.
we wanted to have some
Good position.
good position for us as well. Yeah.
okay. Let's jump right into it. You guys mentioned business. So what kind of business do you own, and how did you even get to start this business?
Of course. So we go back to about 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, I should say now, because we were starting our family. So we were having young babies, I should say, at that point. And Yan was working like enormously, like it was crazy. He was working about like 90 hours, 100 hours per week,
Wow.
doing
Easily.
the oil field. So easily working from early in the morning at late at night. It was about like sometimes 12 to 16 hours a day. So he was there for us, for the family. I was at home with the kids, make sure that we start them well. I believe it was our best investment in every investment that we ever done, is being able to stay at home with our kids, to just start them well, to not have someone else raising our kids, and just doing that. So I've done that for 4 years. You've done oil field for 10 years. And in that 4 years, I was like, what I'm going to do next? I'm not going to have my husband just working for me. I'm not going to be that person, that woman. So I just really wanted to do something, do my part for her family. And I was stressing myself a lot on that. And at some point, I said, well, I'll start a business. Okay. What? What business I'm going to start?
Exactly.
I had an idea, but now
You got to make
You
it
know?
happen.
Yeah.
yeah, I have to make it happen. But as soon as I was very strong with the idea and everything, I made it happen like insane. So yeah, it was the cleaning business. I knew I was going to be able to do that. And while he was working, while I was taking care of the kids, because he was like 2 weeks away from home and one week at home, 2 weeks away from home and what like that, right? So I was like totally by myself with the kids. And yeah, I just started
Yeah.
cleaning business. I was
Because
doing
mostly for 2 weeks, I was away. I was not even in Grand Prairie in that time.
in town. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not in town. I was probably 4, 5, 6, 7 hours away.
Mm.
Right.
So that, yeah.
So
Different life.
so at that point, we took a babysitter that we thought was a great one, and she really help us per se to really start the business, right? So and then I started residential cleaning. After 1 month, I said it's not gonna get me anywhere. So I'm like, I'm going to go commercial, industrial, and the big stuff, right? So after 1 month, I stopped completely residential. I went commercial. It was one of the best decisions for sure that I've done in this business. So I started doing that, and I haven't paid myself for a year and a half for sure, at least. But I was lucky that I had that was able to bring some bread home, I should say, right? So at that point, I was able to really start a business well, really doing everything well, and I didn't know anything I was doing. I didn't know how to start a business, but I did one step by step, being confident in myself, and really do the business. And
surrounding yourself with business people too.
Good point. Good point. He has a good point. Definitely, I did
So
that.
you can have like good advice from the start from like experienced people.
That's right. And now the business is able to carry yourself, like it's working itself, and we are able to do like some fun stuff.
Very good. So like,
and real estate, obviously.
So how's that conversation initially, just to get down to the details? Because like one thing that we like to touch on on this show is that we want to know like what the conversations that are had between like within a couple, because it's quite a shift since he started off being the initial breadwinner and working full time, and you're staying at home. How did that conversation come about as far as making that transition to because like I presume now your business has taken off, and then Yan is working less.
He's not working the oil field anymore.
Okay,
He's actually helping. Everything.
So kind of walk through that whole transition from you starting and him working full time, and then shifting.
Like
right now.
What's that like when you're like, I want to start a business?
Okay. It's
actually it was a good timing because it was in the same time as a crash in the oil field.
Okay.
And she was starting to do like more money and more money, way more, like start slowly, but way more. But it was always compensating whatever the drop was from the salary. And at some point, like the drop was nothing. So you could live from her. And
from the business. But they want to know like how the conversation we had together. So this is how like it started for everything. And for us, like it's very easy to converse about these kind of things. I'm not saying like it's easy to talk about everything together, but this is something that we have it's very easy for us. Like we both think businessy, we both want more for our life, we both want more for our kids, and we both know that real estate and business and more will bring that to us. So the conversation, I don't know, like it was just like, hey, I'm going to start a business. It's like, okay, it's pretty much like this, So he was okay, he was fine with everything. And I don't like, and it's something that we talked a lot about, and it was just an easy conversation. And at some point in his career, like when he was working in the oil field, he got injured. And being injured, he couldn't work, right? But my business already taking off and everything. So, and he got injured like for a long time. Like it was like a year or 2 years.
2 years.
2 years,
3 years.
So he was like, that's right. Like for a good 2 years for sure. He was injured. So I mean, at that point, what can we do?
Exactly.
Stay at home with the kids, help out for the real estate, help out for the business. At that point, I'll do the rest, right? And that's exactly what happened. So I kind of retired Yan by mistake in a sense.
Also, 'cause, well, like with the injury, it's kind of like you switch roles, and
That's it.
what I found super beautiful is that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like it happened very organically. It's like, well, he's injured, like, and you're not like, well, what are we gonna do? You just kind of like go with the flow. Okay, well,
Correct.
I can do something now.
Yeah.
I would not do that injury every day.
Right.
So men, if you want to retire, here's a tip.
Right.
No.
I'm really kidding. There are two things that really stood out to me while you were talking about your story. So for one, you said you didn't pay yourself for a year to a year and a half.
Oh, a year and a half, and for sure, not a year, a
Sure.
year and a half for sure. Yeah.
So not that I'm liking that you didn't pay yourself, but I'm loving that you're sharing that, because just like in real estate, like a lot of times it takes so long to really see some success. I know some people, they do a flip, it takes 6 to 8 months and they make a lot of money, and it's like, wow. But it's not like it's not a sustainable, it's not
Yes.
sustainable, right? You got to do this over and over and over again, right? And we're all seeing what's happening with the market right now. If that was your business model to just, make money
myself.
now it's not happening anymore. So you have to have a good foundation. So I love that you're sharing that, you continued despite the fact that you weren't
And there's a reason into that, right?
Mhm.
First of all, we always pay ourselves. I get that. And it's like one of the first rule in anything in business and real estate, you always pay yourself first, right? And I get that. But for me, when I started the business, it was like I started to zero. Like, in fact, I started like minus 6,000, right? Because I took 6,000 of his work to be able to start this business, right? So I always at minus, and I had a lot of confidence in myself, even that I can sell some to everyone that is listening to. I have really good confidence in myself. I knew I was going to make something work. I just knew the big picture. I was able to see the big picture, even though I was working like crazy. I couldn't see my kids as much anymore. And it was just like a big different time for the family, because he was working, I was working, poor kids at that point. But it was really, I just knew it was going to be better. Why not sacrifice a little for a short time period for a long period of goodness, So that's exactly, I just knew it was going to be a good way to do it. And I had to have fun in for staff. I had to have money for supplies and all that, right? And some company doesn't pay up after like 60 or 90 days. So I had to be able to cover all that, right? It takes time, it takes money, and I knew that. So with that year and a half or a little more or less, I was able to have some fun and be able to start better, strong.
Okay, good. And so explain to us, how does real estate, how did you guys get into real estate, like with all this going on? Because it seems like already you guys have a lot of stuff on your plate. How did you incorporate real estate on top of that?
We always believe in diversification.
Okay.
That's one of the things. And after that, real estate came with coaches.
Okay.
And after that, yeah.
Well, real estate is really something we always talked about. We didn't even have kids at that point, and we were talking about real estate.
I got plans.
We were young, and we didn't know anything about real estate. And we didn't know anything about anything, I guess, because we were so young at that point, and we didn't even have kids at that point. So it was something in our mind, but it really back in our mind. And I will always remember when we left Quebec to go to Alberta, my son was 9 days old, and he was a baby. And we drove to Alberta, and we were talking. We drove past Ottawa, and we said, oh, it would be so nice to own real estate in Ottawa, because we believe in Ottawa. We did that. It was like over 12 years ago, right? So, and it was always in the back of our mind. And then it's like, I'm not going to do something if I don't know how to do it properly, right? I
Mhm.
know how to start my cleaning business, but I knew I was able to do that. And the real estate, I knew I needed help for that. And the coaching is what it took place, and just looking at more coaching, more information about real estate, and this is where we started.
Okay. So I'm just gonna leave a little bit of time because I think there was a little bit of a delay, but I think we caught up now with the image and the sound. But you know what? You said something very important. It's like the coaching, being aware that you don't know, right?
Mhm.
It's interesting because in the business, you're like, okay, well, I don't know anything, but I'm just gonna do it. Real estate, you're like, okay, I need coaching. Is that what happened?
Yeah, and I think I was very hungry when I started my cleaning business. I was extremely hungry. I really wanted to participate to your family, and I want to really start something that is going to help us, right? So I think I was like really hungry. But real estate is more complex, and I really wanted to make sure I was able to do it properly now that I wasn't more comfortable.
Okay. So if I may ask, so what do you guys do in real estate? There's so many things. There's flipping, there's multifamilies, there's land development. So tell us a little bit about your niche if you have one.
Multifamily.
Okay. Multifamily.
Yes.
Okay. And why?
Um, Same reason as when I started my cleaning business and I thought that residential was not working. It was too small. If I will go with residential cleaning with single family, and commercial cleaning with commercial more more
More
as
people, more money.
yeah, the fact that you can do more.
Okay.
Okay.
Right now, we're creating some community with our multifamily, and this is like the fulfillment of that is amazing.
Okay. Yes, for sure. Do you want to talk about a little bit about your latest deal that you have under contract? Is that too early to talk about it? You guys want to say that?
Well, I'm not gonna want to talk about this.
Okay. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yes, for sure. So we have a 504 units under contract right now. So of course it's under the contract, but I'm really hoping it's gonna go all the way to the finish line. And this one is going to be a really nice one to developing more of the community, because we know it's going to be a lot of immigrant in that 3 building that we're having the contract, right? So we want to make sure that we are going to bring a lot of value to our Class A building, to our Class A tenant, and just that, like it makes me happy. It really makes me happy about that.
That's great. So for those who are just starting into real estate and might be intimidated by that type of like amount of units for one property,
Correct.
how do you build to having the confidence to put a deal like that together?
Same thing again when I first started the cleaning business. Surround yourself, like what Yan said, surround yourself with the right people.
Okay.
That will be the first thing.
Yeah. And don't be scared to jump in.
Okay.
It's definitely scary,
Mhm.
but I don't have time to think about that right now. I don't have time to be scared.
Yes.
All I have the time is to be able to do what I have to do, and one thing after one thing, and one step after one step, because that's the only thing I can do. And what I will say is, yeah, surround yourself with the right people. I've seen some people doing 1 year of just learning about real estate,
Yes.
and then jumping.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Why not? What is 1 year in your life
Exactly.
to just like learn about real estate, like insane, like you're retired, let's say, and then you just learn about real estate and then you jump in. Why not? Right? At least you'll do it perfectly. You'll do it right. I mean.
Yeah.
Yes. We all know it's never perfect.
Yeah, perfection does not exist.
Not in real estate at all. No,
In anything.
In anything really. You're absolutely right. I love that you're saying that just one step at a time. I think often what happens is that a lot of people get analysis paralysis. They're just like, but what if, 500 units, like how are we going to raise the capital? Maybe that could be one question. Who would want to sell to us? That could be another question. So many things can go through your mind. And oftentimes, and I'm sure this is happening to you guys too, where some people approach you and they want some tips because they see maybe what you guys are doing. But one thing that, I always try to provide value. If you ask me questions, I'll try to answer it. But what I don't like seeing is that after multiple conversations, multiple months, and no steps have been taken, that's when I feel like, okay, now we're wasting time. You're wasting my time and yours, right? So I love the fact that you're saying, okay, well, we got to take action at some point, but a small step is better than no steps, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely very important in the business and also in real estate, which is another type of business.
Mhm.
One thing that I wanted to touch on is the type of lifestyle that you guys have been living the last 9 months.
Oh, 5.5 months. Yes.
5.5 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it. I don't know if Yan, you want to take the lead on that, but tell us a little bit of
Go ahead.
what have you guys been doing and living? How have you guys been living?
Okay, so we started last year because usually kids' school finish around June 23rd,
Mhm.
but they had to finish their exam first, like before the time. So they were able to do their exam in June 10th or June 9th, I believe. So that's the day that we started to. So we went camping the first time with some friends, closer a little bit, but 3 hours away. And after that, we went Vancouver Island and went south, straight to the States, as soon as it started to be too cold.
Okay.
And yeah, I went to see some family in Sacramento. And yeah, it was a beautiful place in California. And yeah, Utah was nice too.
Mm-hmm.
What else
So
after?
basically, like we were in Ottawa in 2020 and 2021, and then we moved to Grand Prairie in Alberta in 2021. And we just rented a house at that point because we didn't know where we were going to go because we're always on one foot, right? And then you know that.
Yeah, it's
And
just
then we-
like I need to be able to go.
yeah. So we stayed there for 1 year. Then our lease was up, and we bought a duplex. And we bought like a duplex for ourselves that we are going to live in for like a year or something, right? And like, what we're gonna do? Like, we can rent it like for a month per month, of course. But we're like, well, let's say if we just take the camper, the kids, the dog, and we just leave, for unlimited of time, and that's what we did.
Very good.
So don't have to pay any month to month.
No,
Yeah.
so we're just paying like some campground and food and gas, like
Hotel sometime.
yeah,
Or Airbnb,
yeah.
yeah.
So Airbnb and stuff, and that's it. It was just fun. It was great to do that as a family.
That's awesome. So obviously, like, you have time to obviously create memories, build that bond between you and your children. But in order to do that, you need to establish some systems. So what systems did you have in place for you to have that type of lifestyle?
People.
Nice.
Okay. So the right type of people. Okay.
What Alfonso always say? What is the next? What is like? What will bring you to the next level?
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
We always need more and more, right? So people was, of course, I have other system, but people is probably the main one.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have a main person sort of overseeing everything and I guess overseeing different employees. Is that what I'm
Correct. And
Okay.
not just one. Don't
Yeah.
trust just one person.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta know if the other person
They're all trustable.
exactly.
Exactly.
No, that's great because you're absolutely right. Even in real estate, like who's
The
gonna
same.
where are you gonna find deals? People. How are you gonna
People.
negotiate? People.
Mm.
Raising capital. It's always people. So that's amazing. I'm actually very, very impressed. I'm not gonna lie. I know we've had multiple conversations, like, in our living room and, at the cottage about how you guys started your business and everything. And just the way your resiliency, just your willingness to just figure it out, I
Yeah.
think.
Yes, I think
It's-
that's a good way. Yeah, I think that's all we are willing
Yeah.
to figure out. Yeah.
And
Thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, and also I think it speaks to your couple as well because you know, just the dynamics where Yan was working and then he got injured and you just like organically took over and it's just, you know, kind of make it work and you guys are doing this together right now and
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can learn from this.
It's funny because we were that's gonna relate to money and real estate at some point, but when we first started to go together, like I don't know, like I was very confident it was the person for me anyway at that time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual. The feeling's mutual.
It's like,
I needed some confirmation.
my turn.
hit.
Yes. And then it's funny because the way we started with our like we were 19, 20 something, right?
Yeah.
And the way we were planning our money was like we'll put that in one account and it's gonna be our money and that's it, right? And it's always been working this way since now. I know there's many couple can do that and I understand that completely, right? But for us it worked.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And
Like if one person have $100, another have $100, 100 looks impressive, but if you have $200 together, that looks like way better.
let's go with 2 million.
Like another and another.
200 million or something.
Yeah, no, I totally understand your point. And actually, funny enough, I was on social media today and somebody was saying that couples who do have joint accounts actually last longer. So here you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Makes
good.
sense. I believe. Like, I think logically it makes sense.
We
because-
knew that.
Sorry?
We knew that.
Yeah, of course you do that, right? Yeah, because I think logically it makes sense because for one, it forces you guys to obviously talk about money and discuss where all the items are going. And also it helps you kind of like direct that money like together. Because
Yeah.
when you have separate accounts, then it's like it's a very more it's more of like a selfish type of attitude. Like this is my money.
I feel that.
And I
I
can
feel
direct
that.
it the way I want to. But once you have something that's joined together, then you have to, you know, have that open communication to see how to manage that money together.
Yeah, that's correct. Totally correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Guys, I think we could keep going for, you know, many
Forever.
more minutes and hours probably. But
You did that in your living room anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm gonna say that there's gonna be a part 2 because I want to know what's gonna happen with that deal. So maybe
Yes.
make it a date, you know, in the future
Down the line, yeah.
down the line to come back, and I want to hear about, you know, your continued growth. I know you guys are doing other things as well. Then the Maltese, we didn't really touch on that, but we'll touch on it the next time. And I want to hear what's gonna happen with this 500. Was it 504 units?
Correct.
504 units,
Yeah.
which is super impressive. So
Thank you.
I just want to thank you guys for this time. We're very blessed again to be able to have this conversation with you guys. If somebody is really enjoying this conversation and they want to reach out to you, can you tell the audience how is the best way to reach out?
Absolutely. They can reach out to me by email, maplegroupinvestment@gmail.com. But they can see me on social media, Facebook, Sophie Coutu, or Instagram, Coutu Sophie. Coutu was speaking.
And do you guys share the both? Yan, is it the same?
Oh, Yan is invisible on social
Yeah,
media. Like, don't even try. Like,
I tried many times, but
he has a picture of a kid that is what he was like 2. He's 12 now, so you know. Forget about it. I'll give him what you want him to say.
Okay, well, we'll make sure to drop it in the on YouTube, on Instagram, so that people know how to reach you. Again, thank you so much for being on the show and for all your
Pleasure is
viewers.
ours.
You're welcome.
If you want to reach out to them, go ahead. And if you like this episode, don't forget to like, to subscribe and comment. Let us know what you really enjoyed about this. And as always, don't forget to
Live your truth.